Nobody can move like Mira.
Apparently, she was a black sheep of her family.
I don't know why, because she's so cool. Who else could wear a sleeping bag to the Met Gala?
How much story could a single background character hold? A lot if they're well written. Some films hit it out of the park when it comes to creating a compelling supporting cast. And fans can't help wanting to know more about the people who helped the main protagonist save the day, or the villain achieve their ultimate goal. In the case of K-pop Demon Hunters, fans desperately want to hear more about Mira and Zoey, the idols with the voices of liquid gold, who helped Rumi defeat Gwi-Ma and defend the world from total demonic devastation. Although Rumi's best friends played a prominent role in the story, they took a backseat to her hidden marks, her journey, and her romantic subplot with Jinu. So we didn't get to know much about her best friends. The sequel could change everything, giving us another brilliant story, this time with a central focus on Mira and Zoey. Today's video is about Huntrix's other members, and the different ways the next film could give them the attention they deserve.
Not our fans.
When you mess with our fans,
we need to make it hurt.
Number 1, their inner demons. Although they might be the last line of defense between humanity and demonkind, Mira and Zoey are still humans themselves. As young women growing up in the modern world, it's not fair to assume they're without fears or self-doubts. During their training to become hunters, Celine drilled into their heads that they could never show their worries to anyone, even their closest allies. They learned from a young age to repress their most negative emotions to protect the Hun Moon and prevent Gwi-Ma from exploiting them. Of course, that expectation is ridiculous and impossible to achieve. We witness the fallout of suppressing their doubts, shames, and fears with Rumi, who continues to ignore her problems until they become so overwhelming that she can no longer hide them from the people she loves. Granted, her situation had physical and mystical ramifications, as she had permanent markings and created tears throughout the Hun Moon, releasing Gwi-Ma and his followers from their prison. Mira and Zoey's problems are more personal. And although they discuss them throughout the first film, their internalized struggles won't go away simply by talking them through. Mira comes from a broken home. According to fans, she was disowned by her family due to her rebellious nature. Losing her family caused her to put up walls, so she's not quite ready to discuss her problems, trust others, or let her feelings show. However, she longs for a family, and that deep-rooted desire is what Gwi-Ma targets at the end of the film. In contrast, Zoey grew up in the United States, constantly torn between her two cultures. Back home, she struggled to fit in, as few people understand her creative whims and lyrics. With few people willing to accept her, she learned to become perfect, which makes her hesitate to be her most authentic self. Each of these stories would make a great conflict for a sequel.
Zoey! She's a rapper and lyricist.
She grew up in America, somewhere called Burbank, USA.
Number 2, different backgrounds. On the topic of different upbringings, the path for Mira and Zoey to become demon hunters is much different compared to Rumi's. Rumi grew up under the tutelage of the former Sunshine Sisters, the hunters who came before her. After her mother's sudden death, Celine stepped in to raise Rumi like a daughter, training and teaching her the ways of the Hun Moon from a young age. The film includes a flashback of Rumi as a child, where we see her sitting with Celine as she sings a song about defeating demons. Even from a young age, she was aware of the controversies surrounding her parents, as well as her mother's identity and her future aspirations. In the film's opening sequence, fans note that Rumi is a K-pop royal, with Celine forming Huntrix around her. Celine practically molded her to lead the group and be the perfect soldier at the same time. The stories we receive for Mira and Zoey couldn't be more different. In the scenes for Golden's music video, we get a caricature of Mira's family, and they seem like conservative people who want to fit into a specific box. When Mira didn't fit into the perfect image, she lost them, finding herself alone on her journey to become a hunter. However, we don't know how she gets from point A to point B. Did Celine find her wandering the streets alone? Did Celine discover her singing alone at a solo show and recognize how well her voice would blend with Rumi's? We also don't know why Zoey moved from the United States to Korea. We may assume that she made the long trip aside her family, but she doesn't mention them in the film. The isolation she mentioned might have led her down a darker path. But Celine ultimately gave her a second chance to be her true self in a positive light.
Rumi, why don't we take a break? We'll skip the Idol Awards this year and—
No way. It's our most important show.
Number 3, their claims to fame. Rumi grew up in a household that valued music. We see Celine as a Sunlight sister early on, and from the location she maintains later in the film, it appears that she trained alongside prior hunters and maintained her fame for many years before her group formally disbanded. After the death of Rumi's mother, Celine struggled with the concept of raising someone with demon blood, but she poured all of her time and energy into Rumi, teaching her to become the perfect idol and hunter. Rumi knew how to sing as a child, and even if singing didn't come naturally to her, Celine likely invested in classes to hone her singing skills. No matter Rumi's ambitions, she was always going to be famous by birthright alone. Since we have no idea how Celine found Mira and Zoey or when they started training with Rumi to become hunters, the sequel could have a dedicated storyline exploring the moment that led to each member of Huntrix pursuing music professionally for the first time. While we don't have much information about Mira, we have evidence that suggests Zoey wrote lyrics in her journals while still attending American schools. Although no one may have understood her poetry or tangent-filled essays, one good-intentioned teacher might have pointed her toward the music room to share her gift.
Look at this mess.
Yeah, they're not even that cute.
They're so bleh. They're so
No, they're
Number 4. Romantic subplots. While I think the film would have succeeded without the Rumi and Jinu romance, I can't deny how much fun it was to watch their relationship unfold on screen. They had undeniable chemistry, and although they fought on different sides, I couldn't help hoping that love would win out in the end, even after Jinu sacrificed himself to save Rumi's life. That twist is something most animated films hesitate to replicate, as most romances have happy endings, not ones that end in goodbyes. Although the fans of each K-pop group shipped members of the Saja Boys with Huntrix, Mira and Zoey didn't have real romantic interest throughout the film. At most, their fleeting looks at Abby, Baby, and Mystery were a testament to how impressive the demons' human disguises were, and not a reflection of their true romantic interests. It seemed like the other Saja Boys remained loyal to Gwi-Ma until the bitter end. So Mira and Zoey had no problems cutting them down during the final battle. However, without partners at the end of the first film, the floor is open for someone new to take center stage in their lives and potentially win their hearts. Be they a well-intentioned demon like Jinu, one intent on manipulating them, or another K-pop star willing to share the spotlight.
The Saja Boys are fighting. What? That means we're on now.
Okay, this is it. For the fans.
For the world.
for us.
Number 5. Living with Rumi. Many of these stories explore the lives of Huntrix before they become hunters. In that respect, the film might act as a prequel, or have a story that requires several flashbacks or moments of self-reflection. However, there's a way the sequel could continue where the first left off, putting Mira and Zoey front and center by focusing on their evolving friendship with Rumi. Their leader has many things to come clean about, and while they seem to have made amends by the end of the first film, we know that Rumi is capable of hurting the Hun Moon if pressed. Mira and Zoey might struggle to trust the person who lied to them, or even worse, Gwi-Ma might manipulate their fears to get his revenge. In the end, he might force them to turn against Rumi, sending her to live in his realm forever.
If we can't tell your lies from your truths, Rumi.
I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true.
As much as I loved the first film with Rumi taking center stage, I would do anything to have a narrative that focused on Mira and Zoey. They're full of untapped potential, and the brief glimpses we received of their characters barely scratched the surface when it comes to their inner demons and the journeys they could go on to become better hunters. Rumi learned an essential lesson during K-pop Demon Hunters and lost someone she cared about along the way. She then taught that lesson to her friends. Mira and Zoey have their own experiences and wisdom that could change everything for the K-pop group and influence the Hun Moon they've created with their unified voices. The Netflix original can't be the end. There's still so much to uncover. But what do you think? Do Mira and Zoey have what it takes to become the franchise's next main characters? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
Only have to write the best diss track ever to crush the Idol Awards, or there will be a demon apocalypse.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
What's going on with the Hun Moon? It's getting worse!
We can't hold them. We need Rumi.